So in recent videos, I talked about YouTubers being fake in the sense that they don't really show much about about themselves, or they don't always tell like the honest story about what it is like to pretty much like live well or do your best in life and accomplish what you want, which can be very hard sometimes. And I think there's something else that ties into this, and that's that a lot of these guys on YouTube, like they like to be mentors and teachers, and I completely understand that. I do the same. But what I'd want to do differently is I want to also show something about my own struggles and my own problems, and I think that's lacking sometimes. So everyone struggles, right? Like even the best guru on the internet, he might not show it. Like some might. I mean, that's great. Or some may choose not to, and then that's also fine. But what I personally prefer, if I can see some type of like authenticity, and well, my authenticity is going to be on this YouTube channel that I also want to talk about some of the problems I'm facing, and you're always welcome to comment on that. But today's topic is about internet addiction. So I have a very long history of being like lethargic and just spending a lot of time browsing the internet, like doing pretty much nothing, like just random browsing. And yes, in the last 5 years, I pretty much turned my life around, and I've started to do so many things so much better, and I feel so much better in life. I have no depression, all these things. But one of the ways I can curb this internet use is by using blocking programs on my computer, on my phone, and that's usually extremely effective because um, I've noticed that when I cut off the source of the internet, like this is some like a reflection of the last few months. Like I've really come to understand finally, like it took me like whatever 12 years, but I've come to truly understand that the internet is just like an endless source of time wasting. I mean, it sounds a bit obvious, but I mean like it's like an endless well you can get this water from, an endless source of distraction I can just like pretty much, if I want to, I can just spend the whole day just um, going from news site to news site. Well, I usually don't, I don't normally read the news, but if I had like all this free access to the internet, I would just scroll everything. And obviously, currently the internet is designed that way, so it's not really a surprise. And a lot of people struggle with like the endless TikTok struggling. Why I don't even use TikTok, or endless Facebook struggling. Why I never do that. I just pretty much use add-ons to block this whole section of the feed, the news in Facebook itself. So I use all these programs, and generally that's very successful because once I just have limited access to the internet, like for example, I always block it at 9 o'clock, and then until I go to bed, I just cannot really use the internet, and I love it. But so I'm currently living with my parents again, because I cannot find a good apartment, and I moved into somewhere, and it was a total failure. So it's a bit of a rough time for me. And Yes, my parents are on a holiday right now, on a vacation, and I yesterday I like I was up until 4 o'clock in the night, just browsing stuff. Like it's nothing offensive, like it's no porn, uh, no gaming, no Netflix. It's just me just randomly passing the time on the internet. And In this case, I looked up some good things. Like I was looking for barefoot shoes. If you don't know what it is, look that up because it's interesting. I've always had trouble with shoes, and I found a new solution for that. So some of this time has been definitely useful. But the problem is, I don't want to be up until 4 o'clock. Like it's like when you're an alcoholic. Like the morning after, you just realize like why am I doing this, or what, like that's usually a thing with addictions or pleasure. um and in this case, like it's almost 30 degrees outside, and it's quite hot in his room. It's probably even warmer. And I just ask myself why. But when I'm in the process, and especially when I'm not always vulnerable to that, but yesterday apparently I was. Maybe I was a bit down. I don't know. I'm just trying to look for the root of the cause, and that's been very interesting to me. Like 10 years ago, I when I was depressed, I would just spend like in the weekends when I was a student, but when in the weekends I would just spend like a whole Saturday just being inside, lying on my bed, just scrolling stuff. And sometimes I would also look at porn. When I stopped doing that because I lived like the porn-free lifestyle, um, but not for hours on end. I would just generally just constantly browse a circle of the same websites and just waste my time. And I always noticed that when I cut it out, um, I I feel um, like everything is hard, and that probably has to do with dopamine. So if you're constantly indulge in this like it's like being on oxygen in a hospital. If you're so indulged in this dopamine thing, which is probably also true, like it's true for gaming and porn and watching Netflix or watching all these short TikTok videos, but it's probably also true just for this endless browsing. Like it numbs you, and it's so easy to just go on, and everything else becomes hard. And yes, I think I'm going to read something more about how addictions work, because usually I don't really suffer from this. Because either I feel good and I don't have the desire to do this, or I just have all these blocking things working for me and I don't have to use any willpower. So both of these approaches are interesting, but in a sense, I want to go to the root of the cause, and the root of the cause has to come from somewhere. I'm not always sure. Like I've been trying for years to find what that is, and there's a lot of opinions on that. And but yeah, and on this channel, I'm going to also share some of these my search for these answers. And yeah, that's it's not always easy, but it's good to do this self-reflection, because I think it helps you grow in your life, and you'll eventually become even better. Like I'm generally doing pretty well, but I'm satisfied about my life, and I just played piano, and I just kind of overcame this negativity. But yeah, it's there, and I'm absolutely not the only one suffering from these things. And it's also simply the nature of our times. Like the internet is this, like I said, this endless source of entertainment in a way. And once you cut it off, or you cut it off temporarily, you notice that life becomes actually much better. And the internet is fantastic. You can do so many things with it, but you gotta have to keep it under control somehow.